Hi, my name is Israel Vasquetelle, and welcome to 3300 and Climbing presents The Turntable, a roundtable discussion with entertainment and music industry students, artists, and anyone that has a vested interest in the music industry. So we have the amazingly soulful Van Chiso in the house.
I appreciate that.
And you know, when I think about you and your music, and I had the opportunity to get a little bit of an advanced screening of your upcoming album, you know, I think socially conscious music. Would that be a fair description?
Yes, I would say definitely socially conscious. I would say very heartfelt, content driven.
You know what I'm interested in, and specifically, I think, you know, when I think about my early exposure to R&B, to soul, I think about people like Marvin Gaye, and the fact that, you know, it was about what was going on in the world.
Literally.
Literally, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel today that artists do have that responsibility to put something out there that is going to help people?
I definitely feel that artists should think about the content that they're putting out, because they're not the only ones that's listening to their music. I would definitely say that the content that they put out will only reflect the future that we have ahead of us. So I would say definitely they should pay attention to what they're putting out, but then at the end of the day, their audience is going to choose what they want to hear. We have to be conscious of the fact that, yes, we are creating music for the masses, but we also have to be aware that our audience may not want to hear that at the moment, you know. With SoundCloud being so huge, we have the opportunity to share our music while also giving the audience whatever they want to hear based off of the artist.
Right. No, that's a delicate balance. So you're talking about like being entertaining and without being too preachy.
Yes.
You know, like, I don't know, and it depends on like what they're in the mood for. Do they want to be socially conscious? Do they want to feel enlightened and whatever, or do they just want to, you know, party, dance, whatever?
True.
So it's a balance. But I think personally that it's important that artists, you know, make a social statement, social comment, and talk about relevant ideas that are going on.
I agree with that. Like you said, it is a balance, and I feel like maybe you don't have to address all the social issues in your music, but you need to use your platform to address the social issues going on in real life.
Definitely.
Just because you're an artist doesn't mean that your fans don't face a real reality, and you need to address that if you are going to be an artist of the people, I guess.
Because I know sometimes I don't feel like always being socially conscious. I want to party. I want to have that life outside of my actual life, you know? I feel that when I'm in that state, the music is more so based upon me, you know, based on what I like or what I want to do, compared to being socially conscious when I'm in that conscious state, like focusing on like politics or the political things that are happening around me. That's when I actually take it a lot more serious and just like, okay, I need to really talk about this point, get this point across, and then once that point is across, I can go back to partying and having a good time. So
Yeah, absolutely.
So do we feel there is a balance? I mean, there's a lot of music out there, so really the question is, what is getting the attention? Do we see enough balance when it comes to, you know, I hate to break it down so black and white, but, you know, positive and negative? Do we see enough of the enlightenment in art?
I think that we're going in the right direction as far as enlightenment. Like if you take the J. Cole's, the Kendrick Lamar's, the Chance the Rappers, like they are bringing an enlightened feel. They're going to address social issues, but they're not making it so heavy that you're going home crying. Like they're a good example of that balance. In the past, like all you hear about is butts, money, cars, drugs, like what the heck? Like, yeah, so I feel like we're going in the right direction towards enlightenment, like you said.
And I think all these outlets that we have been discussing allow for, you know, various messages to come out. So it's not like there's some giant filter, like, you know, whatever, there's some person dictating what is heard and what isn't heard. Right. I mean, you have SoundCloud, you can, you know, YouTube, whatever, you can put anything up there. And if it's relevant and important and making a statement and people want to hear it, I mean, it's there for them. So we're in a different time now, I think, where it's easier to get messages out there if that's what you choose to do.
Indeed, no question. I mean, certainly a lot of vehicles to get your messages out there. I'm curious how it's being received. I mean, you mentioned, you know, less than a handful of artists that you felt were kind of taking us to a different direction, at least in the hip hop genre. And I wonder, I mean, 4 out of how many artists do we have, Ben?
A lot.
More than 4. Well, I mean, to go way back, you know,
Yep.
like the 90s grunge, you know, Pearl Jam, all of those were socially conscious, you
Right.
know, and you know, talking about things that were relevant, and if not in their music, like you said, using their platform to, you know, get out the vote or do various things like that. I think other genres, of course, are political, but you know, maybe not as pervasive. I feel like the 90s, you know, again, I mean, that's kind of where I, whatever,
Indeed.
come from. But, you know, stuff was pretty, whatever, hot topics back then.
Right.
You know.
And, you know, and it is possible that it's basically a response, you know, using entertainment and art as a response to maybe the movement before it. So, for example, you mentioned grunge. Before that, we had hair metal. You know, you mentioned
Absolutely.
Kendrick. You know, the most prevalent sound has been very gangsterish in hip hop for quite some time, as a matter of fact. So maybe it is a response. Maybe it is about, you know, maybe that's part of the balance. I sometimes wish there was more on the positive side, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
I'd say our political content doesn't get as much exposure. Radio doesn't want to hear that. You know, when you listen to the radio, you hear party, slow jam, party. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel that the radio is tailored around, obviously, entertainment. What people want to hear when they wake up in the morning, when they're driving to work, they don't want to hear anything political because, of course, you see that on TV, Fox News, and all those.
Right.
You know, but I just feel that the most conscious rappers or most conscious genres of music is underground.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's been like that for a while now, but if you go back to like how Israel said, like the Marvin Gaye's, like what's going on and stuff like that, and addressing those social issues in your music, look how much more people were socially conscious. Like, and look at now where you have people toting guns and just all this negativity and no like social awareness for the people next to you and what those people go through. And now,
yeah, it's a little bit of an attitude of like, let me get mine. You know,
Yeah.
I've got, you know, the cars, I've got the money, I've got this, I've got that, and not so much, you know, where are we together in this, and let's bring everyone up to some level.
And from a peer pressure level, sometimes sometimes negativity stands out more than positivity. Sometimes being drama will get you more likes and more follows on social media than than the positive stuff.
And maybe it's more interesting. Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying.
It's like, oh, I identify with these lyrics.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a big chunk of why.
Or it's
it gets
controversial,
traction.
or
Right.
it's something to talk about and whatever.
And the music's version of reality TV.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Exactly. But then you have to decide what's important to you.
True.
Like, the betterment of your fans or the betterment of your pocket. Like,
And it's a tough thing. I mean, to talk about art, there's no right or wrong. But at the same time, I think, from my perspective, I think the right or wrong is something we can't necessarily determine now. It's about what stands the test of time. Back to Marvin Gaye, here we are, 2016, all these decades after he made that album, and it still is relevant. It still
True.
resonates. It still touches people. So I think that really is the true test.
Yeah.
And will blurred lines, will we maybe talking about that in 2030?
Facts.
So let's check out Van Chiso and JR on their song Cannibal.
Envision a broken heart with incisions broken apart like a stalker. Who do I stalk in this walker? Learning to walk. I gotta move fast, cause my time is losing its arc. And my light is losing its spark like a painter leaving his mark. It's my signature. Painting pictures as vivid, you rarely missing the message or passage. Imagine, can you imagine the mash? Should we looking passive or grasp, but never grab with the lavish?
Imposing fiction of our lives, leading lives, bloodshed, tears cried. I'm blind to the things we glorify, itemize. I apologize for falling short, caught in my ego. At this time of genocide, pick a side, we dividing ourselves. Crap mentality, we close the barrel for the wealth. Don't you realize for the wealth we're killing ourselves? Hey, no judging, you keep it. that we need it, it's deceiving us. Yeah. Where fools feel like we need it, can we all intercede it? Yeah. But we say that we understand the sane is responsible. When it seems that we feed off of greed, how we eat when they're starving. We will bleed in our sleep from the way that we treat each other. We are vultures. Please don't believe everything that you see. Oh no.
We're cannibals. We're cannibals. Cannibals. We're cannibals. Cannibals. Now we ain't the same, I'm a different animal. Got educated for the ancestors who never managed to. They like to test the man in you, feed you this propaganda, force you into religion, then kill you, keeping their standards. We gotta change the game, new management's necessary. Revolution's the resolution, been at it since February. You can get ate through the hard times or adapt and overcome. Rule of thumb, live by the gun, then the struggle is secondary.
But we say that we understand the sane is responsible. When it seems that we feed off of greed, how we eat when they're starving.